Hello, everybody. Good evening. Thank you for joining us for Season 2 of Real Talk. Real issues, real people, real talk. Your cast is back, the full cast this season, and tonight as a guest we have Lacey joining us. Lacey from iHeart RNY. Did I get it right?
iHeart Lace RNY.
iHeart Lace RNY is her YouTube channel, and she's also a co-host over on that amazing show, The Naked Truth. That's Sundays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you guys check out that show. Tonight we're going to be talking about, our topic is going to be, is weight loss hurting my relationship? So this can be about relationships with a spouse, with a boyfriend, a partner, family members, children, across the board. So you guys, I think what we should start with is, I have a question, and well, I'm going to throw it out there and then we can just feed off of it. But I guess what I want to know is, let's talk about the relationships that we're in, if any, and just our status, so that the viewers watching know what our status is as far as a relationship goes, in whatever form you want to address relationships tonight. Let's start with Alicia. Alicia, for the viewers, let's find out what's going on.
Well, I've been with my boyfriend now for 20 years, and we're not married. I know people always ask us if we're married. We're not married, and Oregon does not have a common law marriage thing. I know people are like, but you're common law. No, we're not. But I'm very happy, and you know, it's been a lot of ups and downs, but I'm happy.
Okay, great. Zen, what about you?
I am currently single, divorced, and doing great.
Okay, Pam?
I am married. I've been married for about 8.5 years now.
Okay, Lacey?
I'm the one that they put the "it's complicated" thing on Facebook for. I'm actually separated and headed towards divorce. In the process of, there's like a waiting period here in Oklahoma and stuff. So, yeah. So I am separated, heading towards divorce, and so yeah.
Okay. Okay, and I am single also, and have been for several years, and dated here and there, never really got tied down or settled down or anything like that. So for everybody watching, that's our status. That's where we're at. We're going to go ahead and talk about the relationship. Since this is a YouTube community, I know there's so much more to relationships than YouTube, but since this is kind of how we all know each other, or people watching know us, so to say, for the most part, other than people you've met a few times. One of the questions I want to ask right off the bat is, do you think YouTube is to blame for any issues that you have within your relationship? Again, be it a spouse, a partner, a boyfriend, girlfriend, children, family members, siblings, that kind of a thing. How much blame do you blame YouTube for any of your relationship problems? Let's start with Zen. Zen?
I don't blame YouTube, nor have I ever, for my actions of choosing to watch YouTube. I know that my family had some issues, you know, with the amount of time that I was spending on YouTube, but I don't blame YouTube for that. I mean, that would be my choice to spend time watching it or not. So.
Okay, Lacey, what about you?
I don't personally blame YouTube. I think that there's some people in my life that might blame YouTube for some things. My husband definitely distrusts the community and kind of feels like it's like a kind of a separate secret world that I'm involved in, and that I just treat this world as, you know, I can do whatever I want here and then live my life here, and that's not how I do. I basically I'm the same person in both places, but he felt like the community was empowering me to make the decision to leave the relationship, basically. And it was hard to explain to him that it's not the community. Like, nobody in the community talks to me about my relationship. I don't talk to people about my relationship in the community. I mean, I air out things that I've been through YouTube videos, but I don't discuss things and like take advice from many people in the community unless they're really close friends. So it's not like the community influences me to make decisions, and that's been a hard thing to communicate to him and get him to realize. Also, there's some friends in my life that were a little jealous in the beginning of the community and me actually making friendships. I have actual true friendships, people I've met in the community that I consider very close friends, and there are some friends in my life here in Oklahoma who were a little jealous of that in the beginning. I think that that's all kind of worked itself out, but it affected my friendships a little bit as well.
Yeah. Alicia, what about you?
I think, I think there for a while, I think at first Chris didn't understand me making making videos. I think that he kind of like felt like it was something that, well, why can't you just talk to me? And why do you have to make videos about everything? And now it's not so much like that. Like, I pull out my camera to vlog, and he's like, he's used to it, he's used to it. So I think it's helped actually in our relationship, because I don't get so frustrated with him and want to kill him every 5 seconds. So
Pam, what about you?
My husband, Scott, he's always been like really supportive of me making videos. I think he really understands how when I'm making videos, like, it's kind of like therapeutic for me in a way. So he's always been really supportive. I used to be on YouTube like 24/7 watching videos. He didn't really like that too much because, I kind of ignored him and stuff. But other than that, he's been supportive. And family and friends, for the most part, they've been supportive. Some people have been like, why would you want to talk about stuff and put it out there? But, yeah.
And myself, let me see. I don't really blame YouTube for anything, because I do what I want to do, and I am active in the community as much as I want to be. Sometimes I can pull back some, but that wasn't at a recommendation or anyone saying that I do it too much. But I do think that YouTube can become addicting and can become obsessive and time-consuming, and if it's taking over you doing your job or spending time with family or doing the things that are your daily necessities or daily things that you would normally do, if it starts to interfere with that, then you got to really reevaluate it and look at it. Because I do want to get into a little bit later, we all make friends on YouTube, but for the ones you haven't made, it's a little bit different than maybe your friends that live locally. There is a difference, at least in my opinion, between the two, because it's easy to talk to people that aren't your next door neighbor, that really can only see so much of your life, and they're not in every aspect of your life or have the ability to drive over and see you and those kinds of things. So we'll get into that. This is something that I want to ask you guys, and this we'll probably talk about for a while, because I think that this is, I'm interested in you guys' answers, and I'm not saying anyone won't be honest, but I want you guys to take a second and really listen to this, because I think it's easy to say what we think people want to hear. But I think it's important to be honest on this issue, because I think this will have affected the majority of us. Okay, Lacey has been in a relationship a really, really long time, so it could be a little bit different on her end, but we still want you to weigh in. So this was a question that I thought of, and I thought this was good. How did you pick a partner in the past when you were really overweight or obese, or just in the past in general? And how do you pick, or how would you pick a partner now? Okay, because there's a lot of mental issues and baggage that comes with being obese and being overweight and self-image and stuff like that. And when you pick someone, I'm not saying that you're setting low standards, but they may not be the same. So it's interesting to see, are you attractive? Would you be attractive to the same type of a person that you were back when you were overweight? And, let's start with Lacey on this one. Lacey?
I think you bring up a really good question. I definitely, whenever I picked the relationship, and I've been married for 10 years, so I mean it's been a very long-term relationship. I was overweight when we met, and I was overweight when we got married. I had just gotten out of a long-term relationship, and so there was like sort of a rebound thing going on there, as well as I just wanted to get married and have kids. So I definitely did not weigh the relationship, the characteristics of the relationship, the characteristics of the person against, my checklist of this is exactly what I want to have in my life. You know, it was just more of a, well, here's this option, and nobody else is going to want me. So, and I know that sounds really harsh. But it was exactly the place that my head was in at the time. I was 25 years old. I was thinking, you know, I have my college degree. I did everything the right way, the way my parents told me to, go to college first, then get married. And all of a sudden I had lost this relationship. I was engaged before this happened. I had lost this relationship that I thought was going to be the relationship of my lifetime. And so I was just in a spot where I was just like, this is it for me. This is probably my last chance. I'm just going to go for it and make the most of it because, you know, I'm probably not going to have a lot of chances in my life. So.
Well, in any of the panel that wants to weigh in or ask a cross question, feel free to go ahead. I do want to bring out to Lacey, you brought up a point, and I understand what you're saying, but you brought up the fact of a checklist. And I guess what I really want to know is your checklist, taking all that out, I mean, we're really looking at I'm looking at how we have changed the way we look, and maybe we look different now. So would your checklist on someone's weight and appearance and stuff just be back in the day as it is now? Or has your physical attraction to who you consider attractive changed since you've changed so much?
I don't think that my physical attraction or my physical, you know, someone's weight has never been an issue to me, to be honest with you. To be honest with you, appearance isn't, and this is going to sound really crazy because, I mean, there has to be attraction. There always has to be attraction. Right. Physical attraction. But to me, someone's appearance is not necessarily what attracts me to them. It's more their personality, their sense of humor, their compassion, their communication skills. All of those things excite me more so than, I mean, a nice outside package is nice, don't get me wrong. But I'm almost of the feeling of I don't want somebody that's too damn attractive, okay? Right. Because that's just trouble. Yeah. So, I don't think that that's changed. I think I still feel this the same exact way. I think that, and hopefully he'll never watch the show, but I think that my husband, like normally under normal circumstances, even then when I was heavier, he would not have been somebody that I was attracted to. We started a friendship first. And I got to know him as a person first, and then a relationship started out of that because, you know, he approached it that way, which was unexpected to me. So it turned into what it was. So he normally wasn't somebody that I would have been attracted to, but like I said, my requirements now that I look different are pretty much the same as they were then. Appearance is not super important to me. I'm not very superficial with that.
Okay. So let's go to Pam, and we'll come back to Alicia. I'm not skipping you. Pam, what about you?
Well, when my husband and I met, like, I was 21. I had somewhat recently come out of a really shitty relationship, and I was young. And my checklist was very small, like at that time. And I would say that I was just not really looking for someone appearance-wise, but someone who, like, I felt could, like, really love me and that I could love and that we could be together forever, you know, fairy tale kind of thing. And someone who had a good sense of humor. And he had, you know, all of that. And now, like, there's some things that would be different, and like he's a smoker. I used to be a smoker. Like I want to be in a relationship with someone who is, you know, has their health in mind, I guess. Not that he would have to be vegan or anything like that, but someone who is taking better care of themselves. That would be I think the only difference between then and now. I know I'm not weight-wise where I want to be, but that would be, I guess, the only difference in my mind.
Were you bigger or smaller when you got married?
I was smaller than I am right now. Like, when we got married, I think I was about 190, and at my highest, I was almost 260.
Okay.
So like, right now, I'm like 220, so I am still bigger than
So do you think your answer would be that you still physical appearance wise, would you still look for the same kind of guy as you did when you were married as versus right at this time? Is that just your kind of guy?
I would, but it's like it doesn't matter what they look like or how big or how small. It's just if they would be willing to do things like live an active life and to do things to eat healthier and stuff like that. That's one thing that I would definitely put on my checklist, if that makes any sense.
Pam's trying to take this show triple X because she was talking. It doesn't matter if it's big or small. No, we don't go here, boo. You crazy, boo.
I know. I'm sorry. Always got to take it to the next level.
Let's go to Zen. Zen, what about you? Is your attractions the same now as they were when you were larger?
Well, when I was married, I was smaller, so way smaller. So that was a while ago. So I would say that mine are different than then, but they're not really any different than when I was larger. I just put myself in a shell for a long time. So I would have to say that my taste is still, I'll take larger.
Okay. And Alicia, what about you?
Oh goodness. Well, okay. So when I met Chris, I was 19, and at that time, I never really had. I think I had one boyfriend before that, and I never really. I was always heavy, and I was always the friend. I was never the girlfriend. So I kind of at that time I kind of like whoever liked me. Like I had a lot of guy friends and stuff, but I seemed to always end up liking the thugs who ended up in jail type. I'm like a bad boy. I love the bad boys. And I still, Chris was kind of a bad boy, but I molded him and I changed him and stuff. But now I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to even think after being in a relationship for 20 years. Like it's kind of hard to think what if I wasn't with Chris, like what I would. I love someone who has a great personality, like a loud personality like me, who's funny and outgoing and just I don't care if they're big, small, whatever. I seem to these like tiny, skinny men always seem to like me. I don't know why, I don't know. I guess they like the junk in the trunk. I don't know, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, girl, they do.
Yeah. So I'm just saying. Oh, I forgot. This isn't the sex show, is it? Oops.
No, that's the show before Valentine's Day.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
You can let it rip anytime, honey.
So,
Am I going to get invited back for that show?
That's going to be a good show, right? So, for me, it's a little bit different. I'm going to be 100% honest and keep it real here. I'm not saying none of you weren't. I believe everything you guys say. But for me, when I was bigger, I would have wanted guys that were thinner and more athletic to be attracted to me, and some of them may have been, but I didn't feel like they were. So I would be shy or whatever to approach them, and so I would settle. I would settle for dating or going out with someone just on a date, or even, to be honest, a safe hookup. With someone that was more like me, because I thought I'd be more accepted. I didn't have to worry about as much as what I looked like and that kind of a thing. Now that back when I had got to on this journey, people were, knocking down my door. I had to get a steel door put on the house. So, but in all reality, and being serious, I had a lot more opportunities. I was more attractive to a person, but my view had also changed, and I wanted someone that was what I wanted before, but I wasn't going to settle this time. So if there was somebody that was 350 pounds, I wasn't going to be interested in that. And that, as shallow as that may seem, that's being honest. Before I settled for that, because that's what I thought that would accept me for who I am. But I've always been attracted to someone that's more fit. But I thought, well, how dare you try to go and get someone that's fit when, you know, when you're two Reese Peasy away from Jenny Craig? You know, that's what I'm thinking to myself, you know, so how can I do that? So, just a lot goes on, and, you know, that's being honest and that's being truthful, but, you know, there does have to be something there, unless it's just a hookup. If it's just a hookup, okay, I ain't gonna lie, the looks matter, okay, all the way to me. But if it's gonna be more than a hookup and stuff, the looks don't, I mean, they don't have to be, I'm kind of like Lacey, I don't want them to be, you know, say better looking than me, which that rarely happens, but I don't want to be put in that situation where someone is way better looking, because I don't want to have to worry about that, you know. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Does anybody want to throw anything in on this conversation before we skedaddle on to the next thing?
I think.
Oh, go ahead. What?
No, I was just going to say, I think that that's a good way to analyze it. You know, when you were heavier, it's if you're like, how dare I like the physically attractive, you know, hunk of burning love. You know, when I am, you know, a big muffin over here, right?
Yeah, and it's true. You want to. You know, I guess for me, what it boiled down to was I knew what I wanted, but I was battling food addiction, which, you know, I still battle that. Several of us on this panel battle the food addiction. And so I had to look at it as I had a lot of things going on, and I just had that how dare I mentality. Whereas now I can be a little bit more picky, but I would never be disrespectful to somebody. I'll tell you guys a story real quick, okay? And if you guys got a short story, we can share these because this is fun. So when I lived in Atlanta, I was rocking it. I ain't even gonna lie, I looked super fly. But I was gonna go on this date with a guy, and it was an online ad that he had responded to, and he called me when he got there and said, I'm here, and I said, okay. So I went down and got in the truck. I swear to God, you guys, Daddy got in this truck, and I was about 190 pounds. Okay, and anybody that knows me, I look super fly at 220, so I looked really good at 190, right? So I get in this truck with this guy, and he weighs about 380, 400 pounds. He didn't really necessarily lie in the ad. He said he was a large guy, so he was being honest. But I'll tell you guys this, as shitty as this sounds, I'm going to keep it real right here. We went to a restaurant, and we were supposed to go in and eat, and we got to talking in the truck, and I lived in Atlanta at the time, and he was talking how his parents they owned a plantation now that was obviously out of service. I mean, this, you know, wasn't way back in the 50s, right? So, but they owned it, and he was just saying how people would come see the plantation and things like that. Well, he was like, oh, do you want to go and get something to eat? And I said, you know what, I'm really just loving the talk. Can we just talk instead of going to eat? But the truth of the matter is, you guys, I was embarrassed of him. And I did not want to go into that restaurant and be seen with him. And I know that sounds really shitty, but that's life, and that was keeping it real. I was embarrassed. Now, I would never do that to a friend, and I would never get to that level with somebody as far as dating them, because that's not what's attractive to me. It doesn't mean I don't like them as a person and I don't respect them and who they are, and them being overweight doesn't make them any less of a person. It's just not who I would want to date, if that makes sense. Okay? So what about you guys on this topic? Chime in, anybody. Don't leave Daddy hanging.
No.
Well, you know, I actually know people in the community that I talk to that their standards have risen a lot. A lot. I mean, a lot of people will get, like, kind of fit and feel, let's say, normal. Like, they feel like they're kind of a part of the normal world instead of the weight loss world anymore, or the weight loss surgery world. And then they kind of have that opinion of, I'm a 10 now, and I deserve to find a 10, and, you know, I deserve to be with a supermodel and stuff. And, you know, I actually know some people like that. But my issues are with, I've never really felt super secure in a relationship. It goes way back. I have daddy issues, but I've just always wanted to find someone who loved me for exactly who I am in that very moment. Nothing needed to be changed. Nothing on the outside, nothing on the inside, 100% acceptance. And I've never been able to find that. And so to me, if I could find that, I wouldn't give a good goddamn about how the person looked. I mean, there always has to be attraction. But
Right.
I feel like if you were in that moment and someone accepted you in that way and loved you for who you are, exactly who you are, without trying to change you or, control you, which, because I hate to be controlled. That's a big issue with me, and that was a big issue in our relationship. Physical appearance to me just isn't that important. But I do know people where, once their physical appearance changes, their standards do change. So I have seen that a lot.
Okay. Any of the rest of you?
Well, I do. Speaking, Lacey's talking about people in the community. I see a lot of people in the community saying, well, because I lost a lot of weight, my husband left me, my whatever. And I just have to say, I don't think it's the fact that someone lost a bunch of weight. I think there was issues beforehand. I think there's issues beforehand because, I mean, for me, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy for Chris. The fact that I've lost like 200 pounds, it hasn't been easy. It was very hard for him because he was basically my caretaker. He did everything for me. And when I had gastric bypass, he was just like, it was like in this new, like, what do I do? I'm used to helping you all the time, and what do I do? So it's been a big adjustment. It's been a big adjustment, but we work through things, and sometimes we can't stand to be in each other's face, but I think it just, you have to work through those things, and stuff. So I see a lot of people just saying it was because they had weight loss surgery that their marriage failed or their relationship failed, but I think it has a lot to do with things before that. It has nothing to do with weight loss.
I think that I agree and disagree with that, Alicia, and other people can weigh in. I think it's hard because when somebody, especially people that have had weight loss surgery, they lose weight at such an alarming fast rate, a lot of them, and they physically, appearance-wise, change. And when you start to change and you start to get that confidence and you start to get that little snap in your talk and in your walk and you change as a person, that's hard for a partner to see that's been with you for 20 years, 10 years, how many ever years, even 1 year. That's hard for them to see because guess what? Now mama's getting attention. People are looking, people are saying things. You're going out and instead of just grabbing whatever fits, you're taking time, you're looking at clothes. All this sometimes can become annoying to that person, not because they don't want you to be happy, but because they feel like they're losing their grip. And not necessarily that they're controlling, but they feel like they're losing their ground. She's not going to like me anymore. She's going to move on. I'm not going to be good enough. These kind of things. I mean, those have to go through partners' minds when you see somebody losing, 60 to 100 pounds in a short time and such a drastic physical change. Now, I'd like you guys to weigh in on this because, I mean, this is there, and there's no way it can be overlooked. I mean, this is clearly there.
Well, I do have to say that there have been times that Chris is like, he's like looking or he listens to everything I say, and I have no secrets from him, but he's always like wondering if I'm gonna leave and pick someone better, and I'm like, I don't, it's not gonna happen. But he does. I think that's one thing he does worry about is if I'm gonna go out and pick someone else that will be better or.
Okay, real quick before somebody weighs in, I want to say Paula was saying I completely agree with Lacey, and she said hello to everybody. Gastric Rose said, someone kind, loving, and who cares is what I wanted, and thank God I found what I wanted, not perfect, but caring. Danielle is here. Danielle Stevens is here. Embracing Wellness, Nadine is here. She said, wow, season 2 already, time flies. I know I always mess this up, but Bobby Mira is here, and Penny R is here. And this goes with what we're talking about. So I'm going to read this out there, and then we can feed off this. And I wondered about this because Dennis Benet lives in Arizona. He lives in Tucson. And he's married, him and his partner, I don't know his partner's name, but they're married. And he put, my husband just was diagnosed with diabetes as a diabetic. He will be also having surgery probably later this year. I think it will help the relationship because we can totally help each other. And I wondered, they're a perfect example of, I wondered how that was going to affect the relationship because they're both bigger guys. At least I know Dennis was. He's had his surgery. He's on his way. And I believe his partner was also. And I was thinking, ooh, I wonder how his partner's going to feel when Dennis becomes, you know, this thinner, more fit guy if they're used to both being, you know, chubby. So it was very interesting to see. And, you know, Dennis, if you want to weigh in the comment section, we'll gladly share it. You know, obviously, you know your relationship better than anyone. It might have never been a problem. But I know for a lot of people, heteros, gay, it doesn't matter. If your partner loses that weight, there's definitely jealousy and other things going on with the fear of losing that person. Who wants to speak next? Go ahead.
I was just going to say that you made some really valid points about, you know, feelings that the spouse or the partner probably feels once their person starts losing all the weight. The feeling of not being good enough, the feelings of jealousy, the feeling of kind of losing control or, like you said, losing grip on this norm that they had going before. I will say in my situations, we obviously had marital problems before the surgery, so I don't blame weight loss or weight loss surgery on the outcome that's happening now. But I will say that the new confidence did make me stand up for myself more. And that's one of the things, and that's why I say the ending of my relationship is 50-50. It was partially my fault too, because I didn't stand up for myself. I didn't tell him, hey, this is not right. Hey, you shouldn't treat me this way. Hey, you know, like it's just his norm. You know what I mean? And so in a way, if a person doesn't know they're hurting you, can you really blame them for hurting you? You know, you have to speak up and say something and communicate to that person. So I did stand up on certain things, but it had to be pretty bad and pretty harsh for me to stand up for myself. And so I blame myself for the breakdown in our communication as well. But I just got to a point where it was like, okay, I have this second chance on life. I have a healthier, fitter life now. I have more energy. I am living life to the fullest now. Does this relationship fit into what I think my future is going to hold? And can I cope with this relationship throughout this? And the answer to that was no for me. And it wasn't necessarily I'm going to go out there and find something better, because at this point I don't really have a lot of hope for anything. To be honest with you, I'm just like I don't know if there's any person out there for me or any hope that I'm going to find what I'm looking for. But it's more of a I want to live my life in a certain way, and to be stressed and to be intimidated and to be, you know, walking on eggshells all the time is not the way that I want to live my life. I can't do it anymore. I can't. After the weight loss surgery, all the emotions, I can no longer treat them with food. Okay, so I have no treatment for my emotions anymore. I can't turn to drugs. I can't turn to alcohol. I can't turn to food. And so I'm trying to remedy the root of the problem, the root of those negative emotions and things like that, or the stressors in my life. I'm trying to simplify things and, you know, concentrate on the positive things that are going on and relieving the stress and relieving the negativity in my life. And that was the major source of a lot of that. And I had to recognize that. And so it is emotional and it's painful to feel like you're hurting someone and to, you know, end that long of a relationship. But at the end of the day, that's kind of why I chose to do what I did.
Pam, Zen?
I think it's interesting, though, you know, in relationships, regardless of what we're actually looking for or we have in our life, I would agree, Rob, that I think that when the person's changed their appearance to a great degree, that it can and does cause insecurity in a lot of people's relationships. And I know that if I were in a relationship at this time and and that had gone on, then I might feel that way myself, because I know that I can relate to that, the feeling of it. So my point being, the stressors and the feeling that you have to walk on eggshells, whether you're overweight or underweight or not losing weight, that type of situation, for me is just like fight or flight.
Yeah.
And I know that it's absolutely flight every single time that I feel eggshells or anything remotely close to that type of stressor. That will be the first thing. I will be out that door in 2 seconds. So, yep, I don't care what you look like, good, bad, or indifferent. If you're going to put me out walking on eggshells, see ya.
Okay, we're going to go to Pam in just a second, but I want to read 2 comments, and then we have a couple questions that have came in. This one comes from Positive Girl. It says, you stop allowing people to treat you how they used to when the pound shred. And that's true. I think we get more of that backbone. We take a stance. We're not so worried anymore. But everyone can weigh in on that if they want to, but I kind of feel that's a given unless you just were born without a backbone, then I guess you just are always that way, big, small, or whatever. Danielle Stevens says, my girlfriend was very jealous when I started losing weight, but now she is losing weight with me. I am very proud of her. I haven't had weight loss surgeries, but I was thinking about it. So people, thanks for sharing, parts of your life with us, and we like sharing those out on the line here with everybody. Pam, we're going to go to you, and then we have a couple questions coming in that we'll all answer. Go ahead, Pam.
There's not really been any overbearing jealousy going on in my relationship, but I have noticed that there's been some things that have been said that I'm starting to feel like he's getting a little insecure. The more weight that I lose and the more confidence that I gain. But and we have our ups and downs constantly, but I just do my best to try to work things out with him and let him know that he has my heart and that we will always work through things and whatnot. But I mean, I don't know. That's just, I don't know. It's like a hard thing because I've not really been like a normal weight, so I've not really had that confidence, and I don't want to ever change, and you know what I mean, and give him a reason to be jealous. So
well, and I think the important thing to stress here is that, at least for me, I'm not trying to say this is everybody, that this is written in stone. I'm saying a lot of this happens in a lot of relationships. I'm not saying there's not exceptions to the rule. I'm sure there is. And amen and hallelujah. But I don't think that is every case. I think more cases than not, there is issues that come from rapid weight loss, no matter how you're losing it. I mean, if I lost my weight the traditional way and just lost it over 10 months, if I would have been in a relationship then, I can guarantee you there would have been a lot of difference from 322 to 228. And I physically changed so much. And I mean, I think that can cause issues within a relationship, and I think those are issues worth working through, because if you can work through them, then I think there's probably some true love there. I think there's something keeping both parties there versus, you hear a lot when people start weight loss journeys, oh my God, I love them to death, they're always going to be there, nothing's going to change, and before you know it, here we are with videotapes down the road, and it's like, it didn't work out, I just fell out of love with that person. I mean, those things happen, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that's real life. In my opinion, that's real life. We have a question coming in, and this comes from Love QVC. Okay. It says, hello, everyone. Has anybody had problems because you meet your spouse skinny and got fat and they don't like it? Now, we hear this question all the time, whether it's on this show or any other show. This is an amazing question. Thank you, Love QVC, for joining us tonight instead of watching QVC. We appreciate that. This is a great question, and we're going to have the panel answer this question. I'm single, so there's no sense in me answering it because I'm not in that position. So let's start with Lacey. Let's go to Lacey.
Okay, the current relationship I'm getting out of, no, I actually met him. I was heavier, way heavier than I am now. And I married him heavy, and through most of those 10 years, I yo-yoed up and down, but stayed pretty much on the heavy side. So he, one thing I can say for him, and just to be honest with you guys, I mean, we're working on being good co-parents together, and we're working on trying to build a friendship now instead of, kind of what we had. We've hit some bumps in the road, but I would never say anything negative about him. And for me to give him some credit right now, he never, ever said anything negative about my weight, ever, ever. He has loved me at 380 pounds, and he has loved me at, 175. So, I mean, he never, ever made my weight an issue. I think he liked girls with some junk in the trunk, if you know what I'm saying. So,
No.
yeah, he liked me bigger and smaller, so he never gave me a hard time about that.
Yeah, what about
What you got?
when you first got with Chris? When you first got with Chris, you were obviously smaller than 560 because
What?
you've talked about how you've been 560 for this many years. So 10 years before, you were obviously smaller. How did Chris feel, and did it become an issue as you continued to pack on the weight?
Well, when we first met, I was probably in about 350, and I don't know, over the years it really didn't. Honestly, we got together at the beginning, and then I think after a couple years, I think he was really embarrassed of me, but then we stayed together, and I don't know, it's kind of like as time went on, we learned more and more about each other, and he seemed to love me for me. One thing, like Lacey said, he's never said anything about my weight. He's never, even in the worst of our arguments, he's never called me fat. And even at my highest, he still loved me. He did things for me that I wouldn't expect anyone to do. And what I mean by that, there were certain times where I was so big that I needed help showering and using the bathroom, and he was more than willing to do that. And I'm like, okay, if someone doesn't love you, they're not, I'm sorry, and I don't mean to be gross, but they're not going to help you wipe your ass, okay? I'm just saying.
Right.
I'm just saying, but he did things that, I never would expect that he would, and he really did. And even now, like, he loves me, he's been calling me queen for the longest time. He calls me that, and his family hates it. They hate it that he calls me queen, but that's just something that he does, And he even tells me, he's like, I'm going to stop calling you queen until you call me king. And I'm like, yeah, good luck. That ain't going to never happen. So, whatever. But, he's never had anything negative, not in my face anyway. And if I ever find out, I will beat him down. But, just kidding. But, he's been nothing but just very, very supportive over these last 20 years.
Awesome. Pam, what about you?
I would have to say my husband also. He's never said anything negative about my weight. In the beginning, I weighed less than I do now, and I was overweight at the time. But to be real, it's always been a concern, not an issue, but a concern. And as far as like health reasons why, like from the beginning, we said we want to be together forever, and live a long life and be healthy. But there's always just been this fear that if I keep packing on the weight, that I'm going to get sick, I'm going to get, some sort of like diabetes or like heart issues or whatever. So it's been a concern, but it's not been an issue, and he's taken care of me like a lot. Like I had back surgery and stuff, and he He's also wiped my ass, Alicia. but but you know what I mean? Like, I feel like he truly loves me, and I truly love him, and I'm thankful for him. But yeah, he's never said a negative thing about my weight.
And I'm not saying this as to far as your relationship, but you brought up a good point. I think sometimes the easy way out is for people to say, I'm concerned about your health.
Yeah.
Rather than just saying you need to lose some weight. You're bigger than what I'm comfortable with, whatever the case might be. But I think the easy way out for so many of us is to say, I'm really worried about your health. I don't want you blah 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 blah. You know. So I'm not saying for you. I'm saying in general, I think it's an easy way out. It's a get out of jail free card, so to say.
Oh yeah.
I agree. Yeah. Because I mean, you love the person, you don't want to hurt their feelings, but
right.
I don't know. I mean, if he does feel that way, I'm glad he's choosing to word it the way that he does.
That'd be very true. Yeah. Then what about you? Do you want to weigh in on that one? Is not an answer, as just
I guess not. I mean, because I really don't have anything that I can relate to at the moment, you know, on that.
Okay. And I don't have to weigh in that either because, you know, I'm not in a relationship. So, okay. So let's go to the next question that came in, and this is from Mandy Reed. Do you think it's necessarily a bad thing if your partner doesn't want to be involved in the weight loss surgery community? If so, what are ways you could help encourage them to show more interest? Love you, Lacey. Okay, so we'll start with Lacey, and then and then Alicia, and everybody can weigh in if they want to, but she specifically said the weight loss surgery community. So, do you think it's necessarily a bad thing that your partner doesn't want to be involved in the weight loss surgery community when you were with your husband, living in the same house and that kind of a thing, Lacey? What's your feelings on it?
Well, first I want to say I love you, Mandy. She actually just had surgery like a few days ago. And I love you, Dennis, Vinay, and I love you, Positive Girl. Those are all my peoples there, so I'm so glad you guys are watching. Anyway, so no, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing if your partner doesn't want to get involved. My partner didn't necessarily want to get involved. I mean, he dabbled a little bit there towards this whenever we started like trying again or whatever. But I think it's more of an issue of trust. As long as he feels comfortable with you being involved in the community, and maybe there might be chances for you guys to go to a meet and greet together, where he can come along with you and like try to understand, you know, your connection to the community and how much that supports you. I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. Sometimes you just want to have some place to go and bitch about, you know, well, damn it, I want a Twinkie and I can't have one, or you know what I mean? Like, there's certain things that you can say to people in the community that your partner's not necessarily going to want to hear, and they're definitely not going to want to. They're not going to understand. Excuse me. So I don't think it's a bad thing that they don't want to get involved. I would just encourage them to kind of keep a more of an open mind, because the community to us is our support group. It's better than any hospital support group that they put together. It's better than, you know, your best friend down the street that hasn't had surgery. I'm just going to be honest here, because there's just certain things, especially in the beginning, there's certain things that you go through that no one else in this world is going to be able to understand except for people who went through or are going through the same thing that you went through.
Right.
It's truly our support. And so as long as your partner understands that and is trusting of you and is open with you doing that, I think just bring them in when you can. Like I said, if you could go to a meet and greet with them or something like that, or if you can meet up with somebody in the community and they get to meet them face to face as well, I think that would be good. But hopefully they're just open with you being a part of the community.
Yeah, and we talked about on your show, Lacey, the fact that I brought up this point of the fact that we turn to this community because it helps us, and there isn't people that can truly understand, or I'm not saying they don't physically care about us, but they don't want to hear about our weight loss journey. They know us in real life. to know how work is going, and they want to know how the kids are, and they want to know what you did this weekend.
Yep.
Whereas in this community, we tend to talk about weight loss related things a lot of the time. And like I had said to you before, you turn to this community, everyone does, for support, because where else could have you went in your community just having had an RNY and got advice? You didn't know one person
Nope.
that was around you that had ever had it. So
Yep.
you can listen to this, and you don't have to hook on to one wagon. You can hear hundreds of people's stories and see where you want to go with it and what might work for you and try for you. And I've been in the community for 3 years. I'm non-weight loss surgery, but I watch everybody. I support everybody, and I learn from everybody. But I do understand what you're saying. When you do that surgery, it's very important to have those other people that have went through it and have been there to have that support, because I truly can't, I don't know what you're saying. I have never experienced that. But I think after the surgery is further out, I think we go back to a lot of us being the same, and we can always get good ideas from each other, weight loss surgery or non-weight loss surgery. We are a weight loss community, one as a whole, here to support everybody, no matter what method we've chose. And so I think I agree with you. I think what an amazing community. We're going to go to Alicia in a second, but I want to read this. Dennis wrote back after I'd asked him to, and it says, we have a good relationship so far. What's his husband's name? It's J-A-E. How do you say that? Is it Jay?
Jay, I think.
Yeah, I think it's Jay.
Jay? Okay. Jay is very supportive so far in the weight loss process. He encourages me to exercise more. He was worried about me when I was 384 pounds and wanted me to lose weight. I am so happy that he is very supportive. Gastric Rose weighed in and said, in my situation, my blue eyes have gotten larger, and now dealing with bad health, he was there for me. Now I am here for him. Larger, smaller, I want to grow old with my blue eyes.
Aww.
Really amazing. And then Dip Me in the Low Calorie Caramel says, I've heard all my life how I need to lose weight. Now that I feel jealousy and anger from people. Even people who say they love me. I don't understand it. It really angers me. It's bullshit. So these are some people that have weighed in, and we can go back to those comments too. But Alicia, the floor is yours with that question that we were answering.
Remind me.
Girl, you need to follow along, or you're going to be booted off this show. Okay, producer or no? Okay.
Oh, okay, I got it now. I remember.
Okay.
No, seriously, I think that, first of all, I gotta say, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now if it wasn't for the weight loss community, and more important, at the beginning, the weight loss surgery community, because I really didn't know anyone who was over 500 pounds, period, let alone, have surgery and stuff. So I've met quite a few people who were over 500 pounds and had surgery. But as far as, Chris being involved in the weight loss surgery stuff, he's not really a computer person anyway. He don't really like the Facebook and stuff like that. He's like you, Rob. He don't really do Facebook. So, but one thing is, I did take him actually to one of the meet and greets with me, which was at Sarah's, in the Pacific Northwest. And let me just say, he got thrown into something that he had no idea what he was walking into, because he was just like, what is going on? Like, he seriously was very, he kind of sat off to the side, and he watched my interaction with all these people. And, like with VSG Kirk, he was very, like, Kirk was attached to me, and Chris was getting a little jealous, and he didn't realize. And I said, no, that's not someone you need to worry about. It's really okay. And then Sarah actually straddled me, so he was a little scared there too, and I was like, oh, geez. And he's like, I don't ever want you around these people again. I'm like, no, you don't understand. This is how they are. Like, the craziness. This is what goes on, and they really are sane most of the time. You know, they're okay. But he was a little scared of, you know, of that after that. But he knows my personality, and I think I would rather him not be in talking with the community. I would rather it just be separate, because it's like, it's something for me
It's your thing.
that that I can talk to him about, like, you know, what's going on, and he's just not so involved. I don't know. For me, it helps for us to feel like there's separate lives there, you know. So yeah.
Okay, before we go to Pam and then Zen, I'm going to read a few more comments. I want to get as much in as we can. Nikki S. says, "Hi everyone. I made to." I don't know. Anyway, she says, my hubby was totally against me having surgery because I wanted to have it when my mom had hers. I love him and respect him, so we are doing it together. Do what your heart says, my 2 cents. So she shared that. Danielle Stevens said that my girlfriend never said anything negative, but has shown concern for my health. QVC says, thank you so much for answering the question. And Javi Mariara says, I love that you that much to wipe your ass. No, that's
Back to the ass.
Right there. Laugh out loud. That is great. Thanks for sharing that. I'm going to go to Pam, and then I'm going to tell you guys about somebody that I'm scared of in the community. Well, not scared of, a little bit scared. No, a little bit cautious. Okay, go ahead, Pam.
Okay. My husband is supportive of me being on YouTube, and he's been in quite a few of my videos. It's mainly when we do like vlogs of, you know, whatever's going on for the day or whatever. But he doesn't have a Facebook. He doesn't do social media. He's not really involved with, you know, communicating with people. And like Alicia said, I really like having that somewhat separation kind of thing, because he's never been overweight. He doesn't get some of the emotional struggles of it, and I love the community and like having people understand and listen to me, and you know, that I can, you know what I mean, have stuff in common with. And speaking of meetups, like there's going to be a meetup around where I live. It's like in Cincinnati, I think, in a few weeks, and we're talking about going. But when it comes to stuff like that, like me and him are both extremely socially awkward, and he is a little bit more than I am. So I don't know if we'll get to go, but he wants to be able to go to those things with me, because I sure as hell won't go by myself. So we'll see, but yeah.
2 more comments, and then we'll go to Zen. It says, Positive Girl said, love you too, Lacey. Or like she put Lace. And then VSG Warrior Princess, Zena VSG Warrior Princess said, Lacey, you hit it on the head about how supportive this community is versus our friends who haven't had surgery. We can speak freely without judgment, and yes, I want and give me that Twinkie, damn it. So, thanks for sharing your comments, everybody, tonight. Zen, weigh in on this for us.
What was the question, Rob, please?
Oh, great. She's another one that's going to get do you think it is necessarily a bad thing if your partner doesn't want to be involved in the weight loss surgery community?
Well, I don't have a partner right now, but I would say no. I think it's fine that they don't want to be part of it. And I only say that because I have friends, you know, that I talk to about the people that I know and some of the escapades of the weight loss surgery community. And they just get tired of hearing about weight loss, period. You know, and just regular folks, they just don't want to hear about weight loss 24/7 for 3 years, okay? They're like, woman, aren't you done with that yet? Can't you let that shit go? I mean, enough already. You know, you did what you got to do, and you can't be dedicated forever. You got to live your life and move on. So, yeah, I don't. If I did have a partner, I would hope that they would just sort of let me do my thing, because I will let them do their thing. And that's the way it is.
We're going to run over a little bit tonight, you guys, and the viewers, bear with us, because I have a question that I want to ask the panel, and this one's kind of calling you guys out a little bit, but I want you to be honest, and I want you to share, and it doesn't have to be a bad reason. Who is the one person in the community that you're very cautious around? Not in a bad way, just you feel a little bit whatever when you're watching them or around them, or you know, you get giddy or something like that, so to say. Who is that person for you guys? And I'm going to give you guys time to think, because I was going to share this anyway. So last night I was watching The Naked Truth, right? And you guys had some guests on there. Well, TJ came on, okay? And TJ's crazy. And TJ, I'm not scared of TJ, but I'm very like cautious around TJ because this is the reason why. TJ, when I first watched TJ, him and Phil had a channel together, okay? And Phil was off hunting, I guess. And I thought that they were partners because I swear to God, he said, the ball and chain is gone so I can do what I want to do. So I didn't know, and so I thought they were partners. So I'm sitting there watching, and then I kind of got like this little high school girl obsession with TJ, and I started watching all these videos and everything of him, right? Because I thought, oh, he's cool. Because like 95% of gay guys like think TJ's thebomb.com, right? So I started like watching his videos and stuff, and then for like a month I had a crush on him. So now I'm very cautious around him, and I've never had him on my show because I've just been like really nervous to have him on there. But this coming season, I think I'm going to have him on the show because he's making his rounds, and he is a really nice guy. But I always feel so awkward when I'm quote around him because I know I used to have that little crush on him. So, but he's very, very friendly. He doesn't bash or anything like that, and he gets it. He's hung around Kurt and all the rest of them, and you know he gets it. But he really is an amazing guy. I really like him. I don't know Phil well at all. I'm sure he's a great guy too. But yeah, for like a little while, I was kind of like stalking TJ on his channel and like had a little crush on him. So he's someone that I'm very cautious around. What about you, Alicia?
Oh gosh, cautious around? I don't know if there's anyone really that I'm cautious around. You know, honestly, I can't say that there is. There's a lot of people that I look up to, but you know, there's no one. Like, let me just say this: I see a lot of people getting very giddy over people in the community who they feel are, you know, big wigs or whatever, you know. But I tend to look at it like, you know, everyone, like we're all the same. You know, we're all the same. I really do love much other people who've had RNY, who have been in the, you know, 400 and 500 pound range, who really understand what I go through. So I tend to watch a lot of those people. But I don't think that there's really, I guess it's my personality. I'm just like really out there and really loud, and there's no one that I'm like, oh my gosh, would be, you know, really nervous to be around.
Cool. Then what about you?
I don't know if I could actually say it here.
You know you can. Come on, Jen.
No, I'll have to pass. I'll have to tell y'all in the green room.
Okay. Okay, Pam.
I was gonna say I'm gonna have to pass too. Like there's really no one I feel cautious around. Like we're all just human. We're just people, and I don't get that feeling from anyone.
Okay. Okay, and Lacey, what about you? We'll finish with you.
You know, I really don't think there's anybody for me either. I think especially now, I think in the beginning when I first came into the community, I was all like starry-eyed and like big-eyed whenever I would, you know, talk to people like TJ or Phil or people like the Sarahs or, you know, because whenever I first came into the community, they were like they were it, you know what I mean? Like they were very much the popular kids, and it's not necessarily because they wanted to be, it's just because they're such likable personalities, you know what I mean? And so I went to a meet and greet and actually met all of them. And from that point on, it was like, these are real people. You know, they're just like me. They're very approachable. They're very sweet and nice, and like, there's no reason to like, you know what I mean, kind of put them up like they're movie stars or something like that. I think a lot of people do that in the beginning, but no, nobody that I'm cautious around. I will say that I do try to stay out of drama.
Yeah.
So, you know, if there's anybody making like polarized statements of some sort, or like, you know, this against that, this versus that, I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, I think we're all in this together. No matter what surgery you had, or if you had surgery, we're all in this together. Our goals are pretty much the same. We're all trying to get healthy. We're all trying to get fit. We're all trying to change our lives into something better. And so I am cautious of people who are kind of like fire starters, or just want to be dramatic and stuff, because the community should be about support and not judgment. I mean, a lot of people judge my situation very, very heavily, but until you've walked a day in my shoes,
Right.
you can't really make statements about my life. And until I've walked a day in your shoes, I can't make statements about yours. And that's how I try to approach things, and just not get involved with the drama.
Right.
Okay. Before we leave, real quick, why don't each person just give one little piece of advice to the viewers on what you would tell them about relationship within, let's just say, losing weight and maintaining a relationship. What do you think is the key to doing that? Let's start with Pam. Pam, what do you think?
Oh, great.
Okay, let's start with Alicia.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I can.
Let's start with Pam.
Okay. I would just say, like, through the process, just don't get a big head about it. Like, remember who you are. You might change a little bit, but just remember who those people are around you, your family and your friends, excuse me, who love you and who have supported you. Like, just don't get a big head when you get all sexified, and then, you know what I mean, and ditch those people. Like, you might have to reevaluate your friendships and relationships and stuff like that, but just be cautious. Don't, yeah, that's it.
Okay, Zen?
I would say just know that if you got problems now and you lose a bunch of weight, you're going to have bigger ones, and prepare for that. And if it's something that you really want to fight, then go seek some professional help maybe and work those things out. Otherwise, just prepare for the ride, because that's what's coming for you.
Alicia?
You know, I think it's really, really important to keep an open mind and realize that, you know, it's not just you losing weight, it's not just you having weight loss surgery, but it's the people around you who are going to be affected too, and that's something to keep in mind, and definitely be open to, you know, letting others into your life and every step of the way and what's going on, so they feel like they are a part of it. You know, I think that that's just really important.
Stacey?
You know, I think that my whole goal for this entire year, and probably what I would mention to anybody else for advice, is just balance. You have to find a balance between doing the things that you have to do for yourself along this journey, because we do have to be selfish. I mean, we have to be more selfish in this journey than we've ever had to be in our entire lives, and most of us who have been overweight haven't been selfish. We've always just been givers to other people, because we think we need to give and give and give to other people and let them take from us so that we can be accepted. So you do have to be selfish, but you want to balance that out with the people in your circle, with your family, and with your in your relationships. But I like what Pamela said too. Don't get a big head. Don't go, you know, like, oh, look at me, I look hot now, I'm just gonna skip town. And you know, the reasons I had for leaving my relationship have absolutely nothing to do with how I look, how he looks, anything like that. All of that stuff was there before. So I feel like, you know, some people do kind of get into that headspace. I think we all go through a temporary time where we get into that headspace of, I'm the shit now, and look at me, and, you know what I mean? But you just gotta kind of balance that. Stay grounded, stay humble, stay true to yourself. You know, stay true to yourself, and as long as you're true to yourself and your convictions and your feelings and wanting to find a better life for yourself, I think that everything else will all work itself out.
Okay, and what the words that I would give to the viewers is be true to yourself, keep it real, but remember to be respectful and caring because you're dealing with someone else's hurt also.
Yeah.
So just always remember that you're dealing with someone else's heart and to be careful. So without further ado, we're going to end the show this evening. We thank everybody for staying over with us. Lacey, thank you so much for coming on. It was amazing having you on.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, we got to all do. Wait, how do you do it,
How do
Lacey?
you do it? Is it like this? Oh, yeah. See,
Yep.
I was worried before that my knuckles was in the way, and I was trying to do something like this, and then you can't see it.
Just
So,
your thumb and your pointer.
there.
There, we got
it. On Monday the 19th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, next Monday, we will be talking about transfer addiction, sign and resolution. So join us for transfer addictions, and next Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Welcome to Season 2, everybody. We're looking forward to a great season. Have a good evening.
Bye.
Well, it's not ending, so I'll talk. I'll tell everybody about my contract.
I'm trying to get it to end. It's like...